right, we are back to Dr. B and
MrsB
podcast Emptynester Lifestyle Podcast Show. This is podcast show number 11. Number 11, Mrs. B.
Number 11. And here we are again.
And here we are again, and we're moving right along, and we really want to thank everyone for listening to our last show, podcast show number 10 on dieting and health and fitness. Oh, by the way, Mrs. B, we had listeners from North Carolina, Virginia, California, and Florida last week.
Very nice. Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, and there was also, excuse me, I'm clearing my throat. We also had a listener out of, you won't check this out of Russia.
A listener out of Russia.
Yeah. I pulled up the stats, the metrics. It was actually designated the country of Russia. And so we're getting out there in all different platforms. Firefox, oh my gosh, thank you, Firefox. Apple Podcasts, oh, by the way, Apple Podcasts, thank you. And the platform of Apple Podcasts, thank you so much. And as well as Podbean and Listen FM.
Player FM, thank you.
Player FM, thank you, Mrs. B. And so here is this week's show. And it's so fitting that we save it for the last show of February. The topic is, how do you feel about Black History Month as an empty nester, Mrs. B?
How do I feel? There's history there going way back. How do I feel about it as empty nester? Some elements of how I felt in the past and how I evolved and grown and learned from with many experiences now. Growing up and always, being conscious of what history is, Black history is. I was taught that it's African American history. It was mulatto history. It was multicultural history before it was diversity. It's African American history, multiracial history, and Black history. That's the way I feel about it even now. With great respect and care and larger groups of people around the world, all mixing together, but all individual. The history is strong, good strength. Black history is not just 1 month a year. It's all kind of histories all year. And Black history is a very important, vital part of our world. Not just a month, but all of us working together for a year and being very proud all the way back to the royalty and kingdoms of Africa.
How do you feel,
Still,
Mrs. B?
I feel exactly that.
There you go. Okay. Thank you, Mrs. B. The reason why I selected this is to slow everyone down. And how do I, Dr. B, feel about Black History Month? It gives me that foundation.
All right now.
It's the foundation of me and my history. It designates, and it's just a part of me. But it's important to still recognize in 2025 Black History Month. You can call it any way you want to call it. But it gives me a foundation of pride, respect, honor, and togetherness.
Indeed.
Because learning the stories of the millions of African Americans that gave their lives and continue to give their lives. And guess what? As empty nesters, Mrs. B, we are now part of Black history. And one day, we will be in the history books as well, celebrated as with others in Black History Month. You and I, Mrs. B.
Yes, you and I, Dr. B, celebrated as all generations from legacy to legacy. And us in particular, and many others, of the contributions and gifts and extraordinary talent and creativity and culture and people and learning and education and society, economic growth to this world. That is our legacy as Dr. B and Mrs. B, but our legacy as family. Generations, generational
legacy. It gives us a foundation. It's an awesome feeling.
Yes.
And it makes me think of the new challenges, and we're paving a way for the younger generation, and the younger generation will recognize us, Mrs. B, and all the empty nesters out there who are striving their way today in 2025. So it gives me a foundation.
Yes, a legacy on this earth, offsprings from our own genetics. So proud and happy about that, and humbled by the greatness. Dr. B is being humble. We're already in history books and already written, even of ourselves, authors and publications. And thank goodness and thank God for that. But more to come.
Lots more
Yes.
to come. Thank you, Mrs. B. This is podcast show number 11. How do you feel about Black History Month as an empty nester? Any last words, Mrs. B?
Stay blessed, stay well, be proud of who you are, be happy about your history, rise above any type of tribulation and any type of
I got you.
issues.
Yeah, there you go. Rise above, rise above,
the
rise
problems.
above. Just rise above, rise above.
Be a problem solver.
Peace out, everyone.
Peace in.